Hi, well today on the show I'm speaking to the amazing Mary Morrissey. Now Mary has been inspiring people around the world since 1975. She's a legend of our industry and I'm so glad to be talking to her today. Now she's one of my passion peeps, but today I have some new passion peep questions, and some of these questions involve limiting beliefs, procrastination and who their dream dinner guest might be. So enjoy the video. Hi, I'm Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show, and today I have the amazing Ms. Mary Morrissey with me today. Hi Mary, how are you?
Hi Natalie, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you're travelling at the moment and I think you're in a hotel room right now.
Yes, I am.
So I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us. But today I thought what we would do is start with maybe your story and your background, because I know that you have been inspiring people around the world since I think 1975. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Well, my personal story begins, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, had a great high school experience and homecoming princess, and lots of great things happened in my life. And at the end of my junior year in high school, I got pregnant. My boyfriend had gone off to college, came home on spring break. I got pregnant, and May 1 I had to tell my mom and dad I was now pregnant, and we had a very hasty 10-person wedding. And ultimately, I was kicked out of that high school because in 1966, it wasn't appropriate for a pregnant girl to go to high school with what was said to be the normal girls. Was sent to a high school the next year with pregnant girls and delinquent boys. So that was my new student body. Had my first son in December. Graduated from Washington Evening High School in May of 67, and in July, which is where it gets interesting, I was in an intensive care ward in a Portland hospital, having been diagnosed with fatal kidney disease. And to cut to the chase, in those days they didn't have dialysis, no kidney transplants, one kidney destroyed with nephritis, the other kidney 50% destroyed, active nephritis. I was told best shot I was going to get was 6 months to live. And fortunately for me, the night before the surgery was scheduled to remove the right kidney, a woman walked in my room who asked me if I wanted someone to pray with me because she was a chaplain or something. She pulled her chair next to my bed and she asked me to tell her my story. And I told her what had happened in my life, and she just looked at me and she said, Mary, everything's created twice. First it had to be a thought before it's a thing. She said, you know this, the bed you're laying on, the nightgown you're wearing, the sheet covering the walls, the ceiling, the floor, all this machinery, think about it, had to be a thought before it could be a thing. And then she said, now that you're thinking how everything is created twice, could you consider that, she said, I hear how much you love your little boy, but I also hear how much you've been hating yourself. You feel like you shamed yourself and your school and your family. Could there be a correlation between that toxic thinking and the toxicity in your body? And that was the beginning, because she gave me a strategy. I didn't even really understand it at the time, for sweeping out of me everything that was toxic in regard to that experience, placing it in the kidney that was going to get removed. And she said, after, I know they told you you're going to die, but she said, after that kidney's gone, instead of thinking bad thoughts about yourself, just say, that left with the kidney, that left with the kidney. And a couple of weeks later, I went home from the hospital in an ambulance, and I was very closely monitored with the numbers. But over the next few months, I not only got better, finally the doctor said, this is a medical anomaly. We don't know what happened. We've never seen it before. And it would take me several more years before I realized that she had given me a technology for how to make a choice about what thoughts I wanted to become the things of my life. And that began, then I got like a thirsty sponge for everything I could find in this field. And went on, got a graduate degree and a master's degree and a seminary, and I've been working in this field actively, student for 10 years, and I've been teaching it and still a student since 1981.
Right. I know, Will, I know that even with your sons, well, I know with Matt, we have an upcoming interview coming with him, and that even your family's involved in this as well. So what is it that you're doing now?
Well, what I am passionate about is helping people discover what they would love to create in their lives. Because here's the deal. Keep breathing another 365 days, you will create a year of your life. Not maybe. You absolutely will create a year of your life. But in the absence of really deciding, discovering, allowing yourself to imagine a life you would love living, the engine of the mind goes to default position. And you will turn around a year from now and it'll pretty much look like it does now. But all the while, the power to create a life you love living is right there. So that's what I help people understand, discover, and then I show them how to do it.
Great. So when did you first realize that this was your passion?
Well, from the time I was a little girl, I just always thought I wanted to be a teacher. And so when I went and got my undergraduate degree, I followed that path and I became a classroom teacher. But as I was studying these things and I saw how powerful they were, I realized that the confines of a single classroom were not where I really wanted to be teaching, nor the content of what I was being told to bring into that classroom was what I wanted to teach people how to be free. I wanted to teach them how to use their mind. I wanted to teach them how to pay attention to their longing. And so that's how I started my work.
Right. Awesome. So I know like this year in 2012, there seems to be an urgency for people to discover what their passion is. What's your advice for people that are trying to seek and identify what their passion actually is?
Here's my advice. Pay attention to what you love. Pay attention to when you're doing it, time just flies by. You turn around and you realize, oh my God, 2 hours are gone or 5 hours are gone. There are some things in your life right now probably that you're doing that's inside your zone of genius, inside your zone of passion. So start to pay attention to what you love doing. And then if you had a life where that was your work, just imagine it. Most people won't even let themselves imagine a life. Look at you, Natalie. Look at what you've created. Look at all these people on the call today. Somewhere along the line, an idea hit you, and you went, and what if I could? And you did some things. Yeah. And look at the world. Look at the world now because of you.
Yeah, see, that was the thing with Mind Movies, when Ryan first approached Glenn and I with the idea, we had 4 other businesses that we were running, and it was going to be some little project on the side, but it didn't take long for us to realize that this is something that we really enjoyed and it was our passion, and then we couldn't ignore it any longer.
Right.
And that was the thing, like what we're very fortunate with is that Glenn's passion is marketing. And my passion is teaching people this information. And it wasn't until we actually were because, in this specific thing together that we realized, wow, we have this amazing business and we can both follow our own passion even though it's different. So
here's in your question, I think there's a clue here for all of your listeners. You went ahead and got involved in what you were passionate about before you actually knew how to be totally successful with it.
Yeah.
And most people wait until they get 27 green lights before they head out of the driveway with their passion. So there's always something you can do with what you're passionate about, and then it's almost like the yellow brick road. If you will pour your energy into your passion will show you the next step you can take.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the next question, which I'm sure, we all have this, that our limiting beliefs and our negative inner chatter that we form when we're younger. What type of limiting beliefs showed up for you, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I'll tell you 2 major ones. Early on, it was who's going to want to listen to you? Why would they listen to you? And I would name all these other famous teachers. Why would they want to listen to me? And then one day, I just heard back inside myself, because the way you say it will be different than the way anyone else will ever say it. And there will be certain people who will really only hear it the way you say it. So your job is to speak the words. That's your job. And it isn't that it went completely away overnight. It doesn't. I don't think that people who do great things are people who do that without fear. You do it afraid. And then you find that you have stronger muscles underneath you. So who's going to want to listen to you was one. Another one was, well, you don't have everything in your life perfect. How can you be coaching or helping other people live lives that are more freer and fuller and more expanding if not everything in your life is perfect? And then as I sat inside that, I realized that the people who would help me take a few steps up the ladder of my own awareness and my own experience, they were still climbing the ladder of their own understanding and their own experience. They just happened to be a couple steps ahead of me. And so they could reach down and show me a couple new steps and a couple of ways of understanding and applying that understanding to the content and the landscape of my life. And so I began to do what I could do with what I did have. And over time, it's been wonderful because all the people over many years that I've had the opportunity to spend a moment with, a month with, or a year or longer with, I don't ask them to have their life perfect either, but they can take the steps they can take, and pretty soon a whole lot of their life changes.